Hello friends, it's Megan Andrew with you, and I'm so excited that summer is here. I'm using the new Sunny Days and Breezy Nights card kit today to share a video tutorial with you that incorporates ink blending, stamping, alcohol marker coloring, and a bit of mixed media too. I think you'll really enjoy this card, and I hope it gives you some inspiration this week. Let's get right to it. So we are working with the Sunny Days and Breezy Nights card kit, and I am taking the Sunny Days and Breezy Nights stamp to start out my card today. Now I want to create a triptych, and that's a series of 3 images. So I'm going to choose 3 beachy kind of images from the stamp set, the cover up, the bikini, and the flip-flops to create my triptych. So I've grabbed Master Layouts 15. On this one you have the perfect 3 postage stamp frame here. So you can see that one there. You also have the solid backer, so you can back that with a really nice bright solid color. So I already have my postage stamp triptych already cut out. Die cut that from white cardstock. I want to create little patterns and colors behind my images. So that's what we're going to do first. So I'm going to take masking magic strips. Now these are amazing. I have already cut them down to be the length that I want them for this die cut. I'm going to place the 1/4 inch masking magic strips nice and straight right in the middle, and these are see-through enough that you can just see those dots and lines, so you know that you're getting it nice and straight. There we go. Okay, so I have those on. Those are going to separate the 3 panels. I'm also going to cover up the edges like so, and the other edge just like that. And then I'm going to take a longer strip and add this to the top. Perfect. And one more on the bottom. So we're getting this all separated and prepped. Now, a couple weeks ago, I shared a video of how I did a little cheat so that you didn't have to mask on these kind of postage stamp backgrounds. But on this one, I thought, let's just mask. Let's give it a go. I also want to get some post-it notes because not only am I masking, I also want to separate these because I'm going to do 3 different colors, and I'm going to use pretty much my favorite color scheme in the whole wide world: pink, yellow, and teal. It's the perfect triad, and I think it works every time. Okay, so I've separated off the first rectangle, and I'm going to start with Innocent Pink for this one. Okay, I'm bringing in my inkstand to get my Innocent Pink set up, and my pink blending brush. I have already given it a good wipe, but I'm just going to wipe it a little bit more just to make sure that I'm going to get that nice light pink on there. I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to lightly, very lightly ink blend that Innocent Pink on the background there. I want to build up this color really lightly instead of going in heavy. Not only am I going to be ink blending on these panels, I'm also going to be stamping too. So I want this part of the color, which is going to be essentially the background color, to be nice and light so that it stands out from what I'm going to be stamping. And with this masking magic, when you pull this up, you're going to see those nice crisp lines. Okay, so there's our pink layer. I'm going to try to keep my masking magic down, but pull up my Post-it note. Then I'm going to move my Post-it note over here, or maybe do it down here so that it doesn't have that pink edge on there. Perfect. I'm going to grab another Post-it note to cover up the other side so that I can isolate this rectangle. And I'm going to grab my Butterscotch ink. This one I have the full size for. And I'm using my yellow blending brush here. Going to do the same thing, just go in really nice and light on that background. Now I am not stamping right away after I am ink blending, and that's because I want the ink to settle into the cardstock first. When you ink blend and then you stamp right away, you're going to notice that your stamped image is not as crisp and clear as it should be, and that's because you're stamping onto a wet paper surface because your ink hasn't fully dried yet. So we definitely want to give it a few minutes for that ink to settle into your cardstock before you go and stamp. Okay, next up we're going to go with sea glass. So I'm going to put away my yellow, my butterscotch, pull out sea glass, and grab my light teal brush. When in doubt, and you need a good color combo, any combination of red, yellow, and blue will work. I prefer teal, more on the greeny blue side, but it works for birthdays, it works for summer, it works for anything happy, really, anything happy. Okay, so let's pull that up. So now we have our nice light background colors. The next step is to add a little bit of pattern, and I'm going to do that with the Beautiful Patterns stamp. So this one has dots, it has a stripe, it has a little vine, and it has kind of a linen or burlap texture. So I am going to use these three, and I'm going to start with that stripe in Innocent Pink. The tricky thing with these stamps is that they're all attached, which makes it kind of nice, but for this kind of situation, it does make it a little bit tricky. So my pink is perfectly placed there on the left to get that stripe all the way in there. I'm going to try to center that stripe. It's a little hard to do so with the lights on in my studio. So I'm going to get that there, pick up the stamp. And this could be a little bit hard to open back up since I have my grip mat on there, but we're going to try. Oh, and it just pulled up my tape. It's so sticky it pulled up my tape, but that's okay. We can put it right back down. And the beautiful thing is that it all stuck together. So let's get that right back on here. This is one of those times where you just didn't expect that to happen, right? Picked up my tape, but this will be pretty easy to get it right back on here. Just make sure that it's straight and it covers up all of those white lines that you can see from your ink blending. You want to just keep those nice crisp lines that you had before. I'm going to move this one a little bit. Just get that up. Okay, there we go. We're back in business. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put that Post-it note down here to kind of protect my tape where I'm not stamping. So I'm just going to put that back down. I'm going to take my Innocent Pink and I'm going to cover the portion of the stripes that are going to be on my cardstock. And because Innocent Pink is nice and light, I will probably do this a couple of times. Okay, keep inking that up and stamping. And if you notice that your stamping is not getting into a certain area, really push down on that area to kind of get the ink where you want it to go. Okay, so I'm happy with that because I want it to look a little bit beachy, not perfect. So I am good with that one. Okay, next we're going to cover up our pink. I'm going to clean off my stamp here. I'm going to cover up my blue. And I'm going to turn this pattern so that the yellow is right on that kind of burlap texture. Just like that. There we go. Make sure your stamp is really nice and smooth on the lid of your MISTI before you start stamping, because if there's any bubbles, you're going to notice that. Okay, inking up with Butterscotch. I love this texture. I think it is so fantastic. Just adds a lot. Okay, pushing that down because I did see an air bubble in there. That's much better. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to fully cover the yellow section, clean off my stamp, and then I'm going to turn so that the dots is on my sea glass section. Just like that. Make sure that stamp is nice and smooth before I pick that up. Perfect. Everything is still in place. And I'm going to ink up the portion that's right over that ink blended sea glass section and really give that a good push. Okay, I'm okay with my Post-it note being stuck there, so we're just going to keep going. Okay, let's see how this looks. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Perfect, perfect. I love seeing these textures on here, and it really makes a big difference when you see the finished product. Okay, so now I'm going to take off my masking magic. Oh, it's so pretty. I love seeing that reveal of those nice crisp lines on there. Masking magic really is such an awesome product. Okay, so now look at that background panel. Isn't that so super fun? So now we have our little background of our triptych. Now we can work on the images that are going to go on top. So I have a piece of alcohol marker cardstock on my MISTI, and I have chosen the Cover Up, the flip-flops, and the bikini from the Sunny Days and Breezy Night stamp set to add to my MISTI. I'm using Whisper Amalgam ink first to ink up the design so that I can see where that design is, I can color it, and then I'm going to go back and use Amalgam ink in Obsidian to add the black detail. Okay, so we're starting off here. I am going to begin by color blocking. So my cover up is going to go on this portion here. So I'm going to try to match that color. I'm using red 0.3 and red 0.4 from Olo Marker. I'm going to start with 0.4 and just add that darker red to the inside. This is just a very quick color. I'm not doing anything technical here. I'm going to add a tiny, tiny bit of shading, like right there, along that inside of the arm. And then I'm going to go back with red 0.3, color in the rest. And I'm going to keep those little details, the frills, white. I am not even going to color those because we want to keep this simple. Since we already colored the background and added that pattern, you don't have to go crazy here. This can just be a little bit of color because you already have that color behind it and the pattern. Okay. There we go. So there's that one. Next I'm going to do my flip-flops and I'm going to use yellow-orange 0.4. I'm going to start with the darker, which is going to be yellow-orange 0.6. I'm going to go easy on this one because it is a bit dark. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit of shading underneath where the top of the flip-flop would go. So these are going to be yellow striped flip-flops. And I have to remember that one stripe is white, one stripe is yellow. So I'm only adding this shading to that yellow stripe. Okay. Oh, this is so cute. Also going to do yellow on this part as well. Now, I am not the most proficient colorist. However, when we're keeping it simple, I can do that. I can do that. Next, for the bikini, I'm going to go in with BG 2.3 for the shading. And on the inside of the bikini too. So I'll do a tiny bit there. Okay. And I'll add a little bit of shading here around the bow as well. There we go. And then BG 2.1 for the remainder. I am going to add just a tiny bit of brown for the clothes hanger and the clothes pins here too. And this is OR 4.4. There we go. So that's it for our coloring. Next, I'm going to grab my Amalgam Ink in Obsidian, and I'm going to ink up these stamps again. Now my paper hasn't moved. I just colored right in my MISTI, and that's the important part here. So always keep your paper in that upper right hand corner, so if you do want to pull it out to color, you put it right back where it belongs. Doesn't that look fantastic? As soon as you add that black, it really just makes such a huge difference. Perfect. Okay, so now we have our images to add to our triptych, and we can get these die cut out. So now I'm going to take the coordinating dies, add them to the images, and get those taped in place. Just want to have that perfect amount of white all the way around, so it's important to make sure that you get them exactly where they need to be. Because the last thing that you want to do is mess up your die cutting after you've colored something. And I would say that the expert colorist probably die cut first, just so that doesn't happen. However, I am not an expert, so I'm the rookie here at coloring, so I'm going to take my chances and just use tape on top and tape on the bottom. Now we can run this through the Intri-Cut Mini. Oh, that is so cute. Look at that. I love it. Look. This is the cutest ever. I love the way these pop against those backgrounds too. Isn't that adorable? Oh my gosh. I love it. Love it, love it. Now that we have our Intri-Cut out, I do want to cut out a bit of color to go behind our images, that solid color. So I'm going to use Master Layouts 15, this rectangle die, and I'm going to use Coral Reef to just cut that perfect rectangle. It's always a time saver when you can do things all at once instead of putting your machine away and pulling it right back out. Okay, so now we have our rectangle. Just wanted that really bright, bold color to go behind here. It also helps make those dots, the postage stamp holes, really stand out there too. Perfect. Next, I want to make a pattern for the background of my card. So I'm grabbing another product from this month's kit. This is the Twirl It Rope Art Stencil. I'm going to use it horizontally so that it's going across my card, just like so, because this is really set up to also have a horizontal card. I'm going to make sure that the edges are lined up just right and that the design is as close to centered as I can get. And I'm going to grab Sandy Beach and first we're going to color this that nice light brown. Okay, So now that that's colored in, I am not going to move it. I'm just going to give my stencil a good wipe to get some of that ink off the top. And then I'm going to do something a little bit special here that I don't often do. I'm going to play with some mixed media. Okay, what I have here is Rise and Shine paste from Gina K in gold and white. So I took a little bit of both, and I took a top of a plastic container here, and I'm just mixing them together. Now this is making that kind of sandy beach color, but with that little bit of metallic hint running through it. I think this is going to be gorgeous. I don't know if I'll see this sandy beach on the other side of this, but I really wanted to have that base layer of sandy beach there. So I'm going to take the paste that I've mixed, and I'm going to put it in my stencil. Now you might get like little hints of just gold running through here that'll give you that bit of metallic shimmer running through. So that could be really pretty. So if you didn't mix it all the way, it could be really fun. Okay, I'm just trying to get this all of the way. And notice I've done pretty much everything on this grip mat. I've stamped, I've colored, I've had it hold down my Intri-Cut mini, and now I am stenciling on it too. This thing does it all. Okay, so let's get the rest of that. Really just move your paste around. A little bit of paste goes a long way. And what you want here is you want to be able to see the top of the stencil and see that paste kind of raised in, raised in the areas of the rope. If there are any gaps, just kind of add a little bit more paste to those sections and then scrape it so that it's nice and flat. Okay, I think we've got it here. Now because I mixed my paste, I can't save this paste, so anything that you mix needs to be thrown out, but I was really careful here to not put too much paste on there. Now I'm going to pull this off. Oh, that is so fun! Look at that. Very cool. Now the most important thing is that you clean your stencil right away, but I want to show you all this texture. Look at this. Isn't that fun? So fun. Now I did do this nice and thin, but it is going to take a little while to dry. I could use a heat tool on it just very gently, but I'm going to set it aside right now to air dry, and I'll pick up where I've left off when this is nice and dry. Before we put our card together, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. I'm going to choose Celebrating You because I don't want to choose a longer sentiment and have it take up a lot of space. Because I did that really fun texture on the background, I really want something small. So we're going to do Celebrating You. And that is going to go underneath where the bikini is. So I'm going to stamp that in sea glass. Because I want to still keep the colors kind of where they belong on the card. And since it's going to be right underneath of that bikini, that's where I'm going to do it. Perfect. Next, I'm going to take the coordinating die and die cut out my sentiment. I prepped my A2 folded card base and then added a piece of Whisper cardstock to the top. I think this adds the perfect neutral to the outside of my mixed media panel, and it looks so great against all of those bright colors on my triptych. Once my panel was fully dry, I cut down the edges slightly by 1/8 of an inch on all sides, then inked that up with Sandy Beach around the edges just to give it that little bit of darker color on the edges. I layered everything up that I cut from Master Layouts 15 and then my die cut icons on top, and I love how they look color blocked on their backgrounds. Then I just added the Celebrating You sentiment right here beneath the bikini. I love the way this looks. I think I need some bling though. I think this calls for some bling. I think angel or rhinestones are always a good call. And that iridescence works kind of perfectly with the feel of this card. So I'm just adding 5 here. Thanks so much for joining me as I used the new Sunny Days and Breezy Nights card kit from Gina K Designs to create this breezy summer beachy card. I hope you liked some of the ideas that I've given you today about color blocking, about how to color your icons really simply, about how to add some mixed media with your stencils, and you'll give some of these ideas a try on your next card creations. Be sure to follow me over at Meghann Andrew Creates on my YouTube channel, and if you're new to Gina K Designs, don't forget to like and subscribe.